Hi, this is Alpha, and I am covering a day 0 release of DeepMind's Gemini 2.0 Flash large language model. If you are a brand and you want to learn how you can adopt the latest language models, multimodal language models, and specifically how you can put them into your workflows, definitely stick around. I will be giving you the breakdown of the announcements. I'll be going over the model card and the technical details so you can get started today. So let's dive into it. So DeepMind, of course, owned now by Google, is introducing a new release, Gemini 2.0. Gemini 1.0 came out last year, so this seems to be a 1-year release cycle by Google, and it is a workhorse. If I look at the breakdown, and I'll show you what that looks like in this blog post, CEO at Google, we've got Demis, perhaps Demis at DeepMind, and we have Cote, who is the CTO of Google, sharing their thoughts on this announcement. You know, Google has been aiming to organize world's information for more than 26 years. And with this release, they're getting closer to that vision. This vision is actually quite empowering. They're aiming to reimagine all of their products within their company, thanks to these language models. And they're aiming to impact 7 billion people as a result. And of course, we've seen implementations of the Gemini 1.5 earlier this year with the releases of products like Notebook LM, which have been quite useful to understand the potential of multimodal generations. And it was quite empowering to see an agentic workflow that would generate up to 8-minute podcast style of content generation. For those who haven't seen that, definitely check it out. I do expect Notebook LM to integrate with the Gemini 2.0 release. So perhaps by the time you watch this video, this specific product by Google will be updated with this newest announcement. If I scroll down, we're seeing essentially Google entering a new era of models. But specifically, what I'm most excited about is these models are essentially showing us a new agentic area. This has been my specialty. This has been my focus for the past year. And for those who aren't aware, you know, I've been in the AI space for about a decade now, but I've been so excited. I've been diving deeper into the agentic world, the agentic era for more than a year, and I'm excited to see Google going down this path as well. So if we are looking at this day 0 announcement, we essentially see all the other kind of meta announcement they've done, including Project Astra. It's just a nice conversational experience that uses the Gemini model. We've got Mariner, which is a convenient way to have that agentic control of allowing a computer to see what you see, sort of the equivalent of what Anthropic did for computer use. For those who aren't aware, I did a great video breakdown of talking about it, so definitely check it out. This is an extension of kind of human to computer interactions, or computer to human interactions, depends on how you initiate those workflows. Definitely see Mariner there. And then beyond that, it looks like also Google is working on a few solutions specifically tailored for developers. So they have a product called Jules being announced, and this is a great example of an agentic workflow that essentially uses the Gemini 2.0 model with the 1 million token input. That means you're able to give it very large code bases. You're able to essentially allow the agent to scan your GitHub repository. In this case, in the demo, they're showing how through text prompting, the agent is able to create a pull request. It's able to essentially make that pull request in 3 minutes and 10 seconds. And so it's quite powerful for the ability to apply these models in production. And then, of course, we have a few other announcements. Here's a technical announcement by the Gemini team. And in this case, we have 2 individuals describing the finer details of this model. And I'll spotlight what I believe to be the most essential features, especially things that are different that I didn't expect. Here we have, of course, a better performant model. This has been sort of the competitive advantage that Google have had. They've previously had 1.5 Pro, which was their most performance model, the flagship model. And this new Gemini Flash model is this workhorse that is now outperforming the Gemini 1.5 Pro. Extremely powerful for understanding multimodal sort of reasoning, and of course I'll show you an example of that. There are things here that are quite unique. We have not seen this yet, but this is quite powerful. We have native audio outputs, meaning audio generation, and we have native image outputs. Native features are different than what people have been doing for a long time. So what developers have done up until this moment, they've relied on third-party solutions to handle these. So in this case, using a text to audio generator, is one example. Deep Labs, I believe, is the company that have been able to do that type of work for a while. And in this example, image generation example is, for example, Journey, Stable Diffusion, the newly released Flux models. These are just examples of diffusion models. They're able to handle image generation, but nonetheless, now these features are native into the Gemini itself as a model. So why is that useful? Well, if you want to control not just what you say, but how you say and how you sound like as a voice model, then this is a great way to do so. Yeah, this is quite powerful for sales workflows, for customer service workflows, for image generation workflows. Well, you're now able to generate images as part of the workflow itself. So quite powerful for marketing use cases here and content generation. Native tool use is also useful if you want to, for example, empower the agent to do Google search. It's able to perform those API calls through performing the tool by selecting the right tool and performing that tool natively within the model itself, the language model itself. Multimodal live API is something they release, which is quite useful as well. It's sort of the equivalent of what OpenAI has done with their real-time API. They're aiming to help developers to apply these models in real time. And if I just scroll down here, we do see similar announcements, including Jules. They do have a nice release here for a data science agent that allows you to quickly spin up notebooks in Colab environment, thanks to their agentic workflows. Now I want to dive deeper into the application of these models from a developer perspective. So here we see the model card. We have a 1 million token input for this model, and we're noticing that to get started, you just simply need to use this model string called Gemini -2.0 for experimental. It's able to generate up to 8,000 tokens at this moment, and confirming with my testing, the audio generation and image generation is not yet available. But if you get started with this model today, you're able to generate text and hopefully soon audio and images. So maybe by the time you watch this video, this will be a feature that's now available. Of course, most of the things that you expect are able to do. There are things that you cannot do, which I expect the 2.0 Pro release in the future to handle. That includes caching of prompts and tuning of these models for performance. Now I want to just show you what it looks like if you are looking at the documentation. So this is the documentation which allows you to see code examples of how you can use it. There is that Gemini string that I mentioned. You simply need to create a key if you haven't done so already, or use your own key if you have it. Simply pass in the key, pass in the model, and now prompt for what you want. This is the text input, and generate the text output at this time. Of course, image and audio are coming next. They do have a nice example here of the live API, which is quite convenient. This is the multimodal feature at its best, able to use it in a real-time setting. I believe they're using WebSockets, but I'll need to double check on that. You have the ability to use these functions as part of this model right away. That includes search as part of the tooling. You're able to do some compositional work and multi-tool use. And then they also give examples of 3D awareness, and this is something that's also quite useful. And I'll show you what that looks like later on. You have speech generation, of course, and image generation is coming next. The last piece I'll mention here is they also released a codebook, which is very convenient if you're in the space to be able to use the technology. All of this is written in Python, so keep in mind, if you're working with TypeScript or JavaScript, you do need to do some conversion here and use their NPM packages instead of the Python packages here. So getting started guide, you've got live API use guide, you got function calling guide, and of course, all of this is available for anyone to use today. So if you like what you see, if you want to see more videos like this, please let me know. I will create more content. I will create more day zero release videos like this. If you are a brand and you want to implement Gemini 2.0 model into your workflows, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I would be happy to assist you in the best way that I can. Thanks for your time.